So this is my painting artist research. I've included this in my printmaking module as well because as I've included the printmaking work research in my painting module, because I really wanted to bring those two aspects together. Well, actually three aspects, because I also wanted to bring art history together, and that's what I had in my mind. So obviously I had to submit them separately, and I talk about various different things, I suppose, in each digital submission, because there are different nuances, obviously. But yeah, it's in both because I think it's really important to see them as a whole, because that's how I thought of them. So I use my research to research my own work and also others. So for instance, this is a piece I did at the end of at the end of the first year, and this is cyanotype with beach sand and what have you. And even then, I think I can see that there was some sort of assemblage, collaging, mixed media, something weird was going on in my art process even then. This is Peter Lanyon. Obviously I really like Peter Lanyon in his pilot, and he died the year I was born, actually, and he died from a glider accident, and he stretched the glide, and that's sort of difficult to explain if you don't fly, but basically he tried to make his aeroplane go, or his glider in this case, go further than he had the energy capabilities within the aircraft. And of course he's not got an engine, so he can't put extra power on. He just needs to use what he's got. And it's really interesting because you wouldn't necessarily see this if you weren't a pilot, but a lot of his pictures talk about the horizon. So I don't know whether he had a thing with the glide. It certainly killed him, so he did have a thing eventually with the bloody glide, but it's odd. He obviously thought about it, and they talk about, when you learn to fly, about seeing the picture, and obviously he had problems seeing the picture, or maybe he didn't and just thought he was going to get away with it, or what, I don't know, who knows. But this is interesting here because he's starting to stick things onto work. I haven't really stuck big things onto the work yet. Oh God, I've said the word yet. Maybe I will. That's interesting. But obviously I've collaged. But yeah, so I love Peter Lanyon's work. This is me talking about various things, and a lot of the times I use my sketchbook as a bit of an argument with myself. And I really like Barbara Hepworth as well, so you see a lot of Hepworth will appear in this, and I like those sort of the pebbles. We're back to the pebbles again, I guess, but obviously she was thinking about them as the womb. And maybe so am I don't know, because obviously I haven't got a womb now since the operation, and so maybe I am sort of subconsciously thinking, do you know, when I just thought about that when I'm talking to you. This is Rothko. I remember seeing Rothko and thinking, what the bloody hell is that? But actually I began to, when I was reading about modernism and then contemporary art this year, I really thought differently about it. Just, and about Kandinsky and et al. Really. But what I use with Rothko this time is in one of the pieces of art, which you won't see in printmaking, but you'll see in painting, and it's about layers. And you sort of see it in printmaking because I'm layering my collages up. So Rothko's all about that. And obviously orange, the sunset. More Peter Lanyon here, and shapes, and so on and so forth. It's really interesting. I have got permanently dislocated right shoulder from being avalanched many years ago, and it's got worse over the years, and I'm actually losing a lot of the use in my right arm. I can work very fine detail, so I can still tattoo, and I can still draw, and I can still carve with my right hand, but I have to lock my elbow. It's the best way to describe it. So I've started to try and paint with my left hand and write with my left hand, because I know that, it's got one way of going really at this stage. I can't have an operation on it because of my mitral heart valve, so that's, if you're wondering why. So some of this writing is with my left hand. It's bloody awful, and actually partly I wish I hadn't done it because I can't read it. But anyway, this is a modern collage artist, and this weaving is coming right into where I am right now. So here we are, January 2022, and next semester I want to work more on this weave, and you'll see more of that happening. Here of course is Peter Lanyon again, and what's happened is, obviously, if it's on the left hand side it's a gap, and I've filled it in on the sketchbook, and then so this is where I was at the beginning of the semester, and this is where I am at the end. I quite like the comparison, actually. I think it's worked quite well. Sometimes in this sketchbook I'd take 2 pages, and here I am with the fauves and the wild beasts. I'm a wild beast. Well, maybe I was in my youth. Bit of me now, I suppose, really. I'd like to be a wild beast. And certainly looking at my teas was really good for me. It was great. So there we are. I really love this. This was a bit of bin bag I was putting my waste in, and I wanted to make I wanted to do a bit of Matisse, you see. So I wanted to cut it out, and I thought, well, what have I got that's black? And it was bin bag. I love it. I love the texture of it, and obviously there you go. So it's fairly. Oh, I love the cathedral, and I showed my husband a film of the cathedral, and it's not a cathedral, it's a small chapel, but it looks like it's a cathedral, doesn't it? It looks so sort of splendid, and yeah, it's lovely. So there you go. These are paintings I did this summer. If I hadn't done these paintings this summer, I mean, obviously these are just prints of those, they're quite big, I couldn't have done the work that I did this semester. So it really, I've put them in there to remind me of that, really. But what was interesting, on one of them I actually put this really strange, this is on the back of that painting, actually, and it was a bit of printmaking, and it was pasting over some tissue paper print. So that's really odd, and it had some gold leaf in it as well. So I think that was definitely a foreshadowing as to the work, and because that's what the Facebook Massive wants to see me do, and that's what I want to buy, and this is sort of work I want to do. That doesn't help. Or curvy things. Bit of Epworth now. This is Solstice, and I put this on at Solstice, so you can see this on the left hand side and a right hand side, and then I think some more Epworth went in, because if I see an Epworth sculpture that I haven't seen before, I'll take a print of it, cut it out and put it in. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with those prints. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the idea of sculpture. I don't know. Something's going to happen, I guess. This is a modern. I'm working and selling contemporary collage maker. Interesting. It looks very 1950s to me, but I quite like it. So, Kurt Jackson, as I said in the previous video, I don't know, it depends which way you look at these. I went to a Kurt Jackson online exhibition this year. Never been to an online exhibition before. It was great, and we got to ask him questions, and that was even better. So lots of Kurt Jackson. I'm talking about the glide path here, so you know that's Peter Lanyon. And again, you know, Peter Lanyon was doing some sort of sculpture out of bits and pieces. Again, I don't know where that's going to happen. Max Beckerman, why did I like him? The eyes, I've cut Max up here. I feel a bit guilty, really, because I started to do this. I started to collage bits and cut things out, and especially the eyes. I don't know what all that's about. And of course he did lots of self-portraits. I mean, obviously this is not a self-portrait. This is Louise Bourgeois. I can't remember her name now. But this is, yeah, lines. Kupka. Poor Kupka. I love Kupka, and because I love him, I feel really guilty, but I've chopped him up a lot in this sketchbook, and its colours, and this is really important to me, actually. I found that this was really important. Here in my sketchbook, I could try things out and practice things, and really see what happened without actually going. I know that's obvious, that's what sketchbooks are for, right? But it was really important. So this thing, you know, like the tension, this is really important, the tension of this point meeting here, is really important. As soon as you overlap something on, you probably know all this. I don't know why I'm telling you this to you, but for me it was like a revelation. Once you overlap something, it's gone. The tension's gone. It's broken. The separation, I'm not quite sure what that causes, but it's the meeting, and especially it's a very small meeting, so that's interesting. I've got to explore that, and that's probably more Kupka, more Louise. You see a lot of Kupka, and you can see what happened here. This is it's all sticky together because it's all covered with acrylic medium. You can see how this informed some of the work. And the tearing, this is a bloke called Anthony Zinzinos, probably not pronounced, but tearing something, and I found that canvas tore really much better than paper. That's an odd thing to say, because obviously it's easier to tear the paper, but there was a better feeling at tearing the canvas. In fact, you want to tear the canvas on it, I don't know. Here we go again, more Lanyon. This, you can see that the tide markers are here again. The tide markers, as I said in the sketchbook earlier, are really important, because once the tide markers are covered, then both as a flood. Yeah. So here we are. So this, I think this is Holly and a weaving, and I want to weave things. What happens if I weave? I think this is some Russian modernism. What if I weave two pictures together? There I've got some sort of colour match, I suppose. Does it just look a mess? And I think it does, and I think I realise that. And that's a slap in the face of Public Taste was a book, I think, that was written at this time. But yeah, I don't think that works, but I want to weave. I don't know why I want to weave. I want to weave. So there you are. So I'm going to weave. So yeah, you can see what's going on here. This sort of Russian feel, Kandinsky, and all the rest. That's really fascinating for me. I'm not sure where I'm going with that. I'll let you know. Maybe next semester I'll let you know on that one. This was an acrylic pour experiment. I don't know if I've given you a link to this, but it's actually on the YouTube page, and this came about from a discussion with another art student who was at Slade, and she's a friend of my daughter, and we were talking about the modern sort of Facebook social media passion for acrylic pours. Why do people like watching them? And I'd never done one, and so this was pre-semester, and actually I don't know what I think of it really, but the material technology I employed, I didn't use an acrylic pour, but I used the material that you have, and what that is, it's a more fluid acrylic. You mix it with a pigment, and you have to have several layers, and you can do it on the amount of water that you put into your mix, and so it resists. It sort of resists it and gives you that oil and water sort of look. Or you can put oil in, and I put silicone oil in the layer that I want to resist and give the cells, because it's far better. If you dilute the acrylic too much, it loses its structural integrity and it just breaks off. Now, if you encapsulate it, I suppose it doesn't really matter if you're going to put something over the top of it. But actually, I quite like the effect of the silicone oil. It was far more reliable. You have to get rid of the silicone oil afterwards, which I just used an alcoholic wipe, and it obviously takes longer to set. But that's what that's about. This is, I put the sketches in from when we did the plein air stuff at the pier. This sort of, these are really rough sketches, but what I like this one particularly. I just like the composition of this one. I quite like the fact that I'd never noticed the pier looks like the War of the Worlds machine. It does, because they're sort of splayed out. Never noticed that before. And I like the idea of trees on the pier. I thought that was quite good. So that's why this is in. But I think there's something going to happen with this again next semester, I think, because I'm going to look at these sort of dark elements, and yeah, that's so important. These are two photographs that I messed about with and I put with cyanotype. Again, this was really interesting because I really liked the work of the British futurists and the Italian futurists. Obviously, I didn't like their politics, and there's going to be, I think there's some rude words said about them shortly. But I liked their feeling of dynamic movement. And actually, there was many things I did like about their manifesto in terms of speed and machines and all those things. Obviously, I didn't like the unsavoury elements. What a shame! What a shame that they couldn't, separate the two. Thomas Cole, Moment of Peace, because if you get into this, you've got to have some moment of peace, because this is phonetic and really busy. Ah, stuck together. Oh, Jackson Pollock. I've sort of had a bit of splatter, which I quite like. I don't really like Jackson Pollock. Obviously, I don't really like Jackson Pollock because I've cut him all up here. But this again was really important because I wondered if I could get all my print work and I just randomly cut it up and just chucked it on. Would that make any sense? And of course, it doesn't make any sense. But I had to see that. Or I thought it didn't make any sense. So there is something further on. Yeah. This is just a little snippet of the British 1950s collage artist, which there's more of here. And a bit of Bernard, you see. Anarchy. Whew, come on. There you are. Got a bit of both. Marlowe Moss, love Marlowe Moss. She was an artist working in the 30s and 40s. She was possibly transgender before they knew what transgender was. But really, now he's been recognised by the Tate, but wasn't particularly then, I suppose. You had to be male, perhaps, to be recognised. And obviously, perhaps their sexual politics were not appreciated. But I love this painting. I just love this painting. I don't know why. Just do. More Bernard. This one's a modern printmaker, and she made it into the painting one, as I've put painting ones into the printmaking. Why? Mainly because I think I wanted to make a statement to myself that they are mixed, that they are together and they're not apart. So again, it's a left-hand side one, so it's obviously quite later on. But it's the eyes. So I've taken something that's very sort of kitsch and oh, this is a squid. I don't think I can ever eat squid again because squids are these beautiful colours. Nothing to do with her except the colour's the same. And the eyes. There's something about eyes. I don't know what's happening. There's something going on there. Again, next semester, I'll maybe explore squids and eyes. More Bernard. This is a photo montage. Paul Citron, 1923. Again, it's a montage. Montage of, in this case, a photo montage. I think this is going to be the next work. Maybe not. Oh, maybe it should have photographs. I don't know. This is some sort of memoir thing. What's going on? More Kurt Jackson. We're on the sea. I actually wrote this right at the beginning, I think. So I'd obviously picked this page to put this in. I put non-threatening, easy art to understand. And of course, it's not at all. I put Clive Bell would have approved. I didn't like Clive Bell, obviously, in my readings. But of course, it's not. He's actually making all sorts of political statements. I didn't know that until I went to this online exhibition. I feel a bit rotten, really, about writing that. So I might cross it out. Hang on. Bear with. Look, I don't want in pink. No, wrong. There you go. Wrong. Oh, and I did it with my right hand. And you still can't read it. There you go. Aha! Here we are. So this is definitely the first painting in cross which went on to being a collage. And a note to the ant people. I call the tourists the ant people when they're on the beach because they look like ants. So I've obviously got one on. I don't know what I'm trying to do with these colours. I think these colours just came about because of the workshop and looking at the photos and then, obviously anger on top. You can see these are pictures of prints and paintings. These are my prints. Obviously the printmaking lot will get it. But if you're a painting tutoring looking at this going, what's going on here? but these might, and you can see how the work has developed, I think, in this. This is quite interesting because I've not done this, and there's something about an eye and a tide marker, and so this one hasn't happened, so this might have to happen. I really love the sketchbooks because I can revisit these next year, year after, and even if I think, oh God, what was I thinking? I reckon there'll be more pictures in here. I think there's going to be loads of pictures in these. So I love this. I really love this. You can see what's happening here. This is cubism. So I looked at cubism. This is not me looking at cubism last year. This is me looking at cubism this year and understanding it more. Well, I think I understand it, and then I don't again. So more you know, more you don't know. That's what I've discovered, really. So yeah, so this is all about cubism, and obviously synthetic cubism sort of appeals to me with its sign, its signifier, and being able to tell a story. But you have to know. I mean, that's the problem with synthetic cubism. You have to know what the hell they're on about before you understand the painting, or you just, oh, that's a nice bit of cutting out. Important, I guess. This was the workshop with the maps, which have obviously went on to inform one of the artworks, which appears in both printmaking and in painting. And this is the story of a flight that happened a few years back where they crashed, and I think I tell the story in the submissions about, you know, how we didn't crash because we didn't turn, but obviously they did, and yeah, so that's what this is, and this is the research for that. Here we are. Here's the tum-tum. Don't look at that. It's obviously, I'm going to cross that out. That's a bit rude. Obviously, me getting cross with fascists. But I love the movement. I love the movement. I love the energy. I might love the violence in a strange sort of way. I'd rather stick to violent painting, I think, than violence itself. Dynamism of movement. So obviously, I'm talking about that, and I'm cutting things out here. Everything will be arranged for the convenience of war. Murder and destruction is man's fundamental occupation. It probably is. They're probably right. Who knows? Yeah. There we go. Degenerate art of Mondrian. But they don't look like swastikas. They're really odd. Of course, the swastika is a peaceful symbol in a lot of countries, you know. Buddhism particularly. I wanted some curves in Mondrian at this stage, but then I didn't, because he gives some sort of order to it. Oh, well, there you go. That's finished. Well, that's probably quite right, really.